Well, public safety first. Violence plagues Union Park area. City confirms park vandalism on the rise. Woman found dead in duplex. Public safety is the most important issue. Police, fire and ambulance, streets, picking up the garbage. That's the nuts and bolts of municipal government. If I pick up the paper Sunday, here's a woman that just moved to Kenosha in the Voice of the People, and she says, our family moved to Kenosha 1 year ago from the city of Chicago. One of my biggest hopes was that I could finally relax because the worry of drug dealers and murderers was far away. I was so wrong. I go to the website and I take Danny Wade's Kenosha Police Department Uniform Crime Reporting Program statistics. I flip over the page. 2002-2004, that's the latest statistic I have. Violent crimes, Part 1 crime, increased 25% from 03 to 04. Fire station on the west side. You've got the big buildings downtown. Where's the ladder company? It's out on 60th Street. And when you have qualified people that pay taxes, have families, the city invests money in them professionally, why in the heck do you have to go outside to find somebody when you have dedicated people on your fire department and on your police department that should be the leaders and the chiefs? The city's limit for credit, this is where the city credit card, is $250 million approximately. Well, if you've got a $250 million line of credit, doesn't mean you've got to spend $250 million. Right now, the city has $130 million on the credit card. Not counting the taxing incremental financing districts, which are economic development areas like the Brass and the Lakefront and McWhite. There's another about $40 million on the credit card. If TIFs fail, that goes on the backs of the taxpayers. Also, in the $66 million budget in the city of Kenosha, we're carrying about a 20% reserve. In other words, they're taxing you to put money in a reserve because if something happens, you don't want to go back to the well and borrow more money. So they're taking more money out of your pocket in taxes. The rule of thumb is if you go to Moody's or any bonding service, 2 to 5% should be the reserve. 2 to 5%, which would be $3.3 million. The city is currently carrying $6.6 million in the undesignated budgeted surplus or working capital account. In addition to that, they're carrying $7 million in a reserve fund. And this is a rainy day fund that if this pollution comes leaching to the front, who's going to have to pay to clean that up? So you better maintain a reserve fund if something goes wrong. I think that we're spending too much. We're spending too much for the wrong reasons. Maybe fire station on the west side. When you remodel a library, does it require a $7 million overhaul where you build literally a new library? I don't think so. Now, if you look what's happened, and one of the reasons why I'm running for mayor, I got my tax bill. The schools are the largest taxing body on your real estate tax. They're 3 times as large as the city. And then you have the county, and you've got the state, and you've got Gateway, and you've got the city. Since I've lived here for 30 years, I always pay more money to the schools, but I should because they're 3 times larger. Well, for the last 2 years, I'm paying $300 more in taxes to the city than I am to the schools. And I suggest to you, when we talk about the bonding and the borrowing, when I talk about the maintaining of the large reserve funds, when I talk about assuming liabilities that we shouldn't assume and put on the backs of the taxpayers, that's part of the reason. When I became the mayor in 1988, Chrysler announced that they were closing the plant and we were going to be losing 5,500 jobs. So it wasn't really, I suppose you could say, the time in which to come in. You're sitting in an auditorium with a lot of angry people that were told by certain people of their leadership that you have to sue Chrysler to keep our jobs. And I'm telling them that if you sue Chrysler, do you think this Lakeview Corporate Park is ever going to get off the ground? Do you think a private investor is going to come and invest his money in Kenosha if you sue a private company? And all legal advice said we didn't have a leg to stand on. So we didn't sue them. And I suggest to you that this engine plant, this $500 million engine plant, would not be here today if we would have sued Chrysler to try to retain jobs that we couldn't retain. We had what we called the Focus 2000 Committee, and we asked the citizens of Kenosha in 1988, where would you like to be in the year 2000? And they said, we want you to diversify the economy. We want you to develop the lakefront. And that's exactly what we set out to do. Every plan that has ever been created on lakefront development, from Mayor Bellotti to my plan to the current mayor's plan, 1996 by the Urban Land Institute, says whatever you do, do not block the vision, and I'll move this sign down now, of Bartholomew. Keep the boulevard open, historically, scenically, visually. That's your jewel in the crown. Now, I'm not against the boat storage building, but I'm against spending hard-earned money, putting taxpayers on the lam for liability, violating every plan, and putting a boat storage building there for political expediency and political purposes. That was wrong, and that's what I'm against philosophically. So, what I'm proposing, ladies and gentlemen, is that I feel I'm a new man for a new direction. I think that the priorities are wrong, and I want to change things, but I can't unless I have the help of you and other good citizens of Kenosha.